everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Clarepoint podcast with me, Randy Prizzle. How you guys all doing out there? Everything's good, shway, crispy, irie. Now I know you're probably thinking, hey, what's going on? The light is kind of one side and the other kind of the dark side there, like Star Wars and that. Darth Vader saying, Unfortunately, my light has decided to snap in two, so I literally was trying to hold it, pull it the next minute, and then off the head went. Literally off with its head, you know what I mean? Henry VIII settings and that. So it kind of caught me by surprise. So that's why I've kind of tilted it up against the camera stand so I could just get just about enough light on me. Now, if it does fall apart, we got some problems here. I'll have to rearrange and fix it and sort all these things out. It's moving completely mad. It really caught me by surprise. So obviously I'll have to get a new camera light down the line, which is a bit annoying, but this is what it is. C'est la vie, as they say. Say you will, say you won't, say you do what I know, say it's true, say to me, c'est la vie. But anyways, it is what it is. Let's get on to the podcast, guys. Big up yourselves one time if you're a first time watcher, season watcher and all of that. As I said, subscribe to the channel if you're feeling this episode or any of the previous episodes. You know what to do below. But let's get into the episodes that we've got to talk about on today's podcast, episode 32. That's 1, 2, yes. Random questions we're going to come to now. We haven't had them for a while, so they're going to come back today. Randy's advice as usual, give my advice on people's mishaps and whatever's that's going on in their lives. You know what I mean? So I'll comment and leave my queries and theories on that. And obviously, Mohammed Salah signed a new 2-year deal. Going to speak on that. Champions League, recap on that, and the new predictions coming up for this week incoming. The Europa League as well. Didn't really talk about it last week, so obviously we're going to go into the predictions as well for that, and the Premier League as well. That's all to come on this episode of the Clarepoint podcast in this week's episode. But big up to my team as well, Arsenal. We did win. Not this game, obviously in the Premier League, we drew this game, but we did win in the Champions League, first tie round, but the tie's not over, but we'll get more into that. But let's get into the random questions of today's episode. Using one word, what's your state of mind right now? Well, as I said, the camera broke, so I'm a little bit annoyed, the light of the camera. So it is what it is, but new one's got to come next month. It's just got to be something that gets tied to the camera and then, you know what I mean, find a way to keep using it until you can't use it no more, until I get a new one. So it is what it is there, you know what I mean? But at this point in time, I'm frustrated by it, but we keep moving, man. Keep on moving, as the 5 song said. When you're... Yeah, I'm saying it the wrong way. How's it start again? I know it's when you're down, baby, take a good look around. I know it's not much, but it's okay. Keep on moving on anyway. It's quite a positive song, actually. You hear it back and you realise, wow, this 5 song's actually a positive song, you know. So usually you hear these boy bands and you think, bro, they sing about gal and all these things nowadays. They don't really talk about the real, you know, things are hard hitting stuff in life. But they, you know what I mean? Big up 5 for that one. But anyways. Next one. Where are you joining us from? So where am I joining you from? My bedroom. You know what I mean? Which is obviously somewhere in London. I'm not telling you where because you don't need to know all of that. You know what I mean? People know, then they know, innit? But you don't need to know where my surrounding settings are. I don't want people be peering through the window and then, you know, trying to say, oh yeah, there he is, Randy Prizzle. I'll probably even get no one, to be honest, because I'm not even known like that yet. But still, I don't want no one coming around my house thinking, oh yeah, can check him out, see what he's doing through his window and that. No. Allow it. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not sharing anything with anyone. So yeah, all you need to know is I live in London town. London town. But anyways, let's move on to the next one we've got to talk about. What are you most grateful for? I think I'm grateful for doing this for now. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, was out of a job last year. You know what I mean? It was a period where I got let go of. Generally wasn't told to come back, and I was kind of in disarray. You know what I mean? Didn't really know what to do. Made for just drink some rain nephews and just call it a day. Do you know what I mean? Not in those ways. I just offing myself and that. But you know, I just thought, just let things be. Let it be. Let it be. All of that, like the Beatles song and that. You know, I thought just let it be. But you know, I kind of said to myself, be hopeful. I had the trip, obviously, to Paris that made me kind of rejuvenate myself, feel a bit good, do you know what I mean? And come back with a fresher new hope, you know what I mean? Say a new hope Star Wars settings in there. So new hope and all that. Yeah. Anyways, next question. Which industry figures inspire you? I think anyone that's doing some positive things at this point in time. You look at Chunks, what he talks about, what he speaks about, and what he stands up for, what he's saying, and you know the injustice that's going on, how Chunks stands up for that. You know what I mean? Big up Chunks. So he's someone that he inspires me with what he says and how he just keeps being his authentic self. You know what I mean? I admire that from Chunks. Do you know what I mean? So not just him, but you can say people obviously in acting roles as well. I look at people like Denzel Washington. Longevity. Guy's been there for so long, been in many roles, done many films, and he still keeps producing them at the top level. So he's another person. I look at artists as well. You know, people like Kano as well. Longevity. Someone who, when I first heard his music, I instantly was hooked to his music. So someone like him, you know what I mean? People all around doing positive things within their, you know, let's say content, you know what I mean? Or whatever their specific greatness is in. So yeah, you know, we look at The Rock as well. People like that too, you know what I mean? Great at speaking, communicating, saying what you need to say. Movie roles, people might say, oh, he sucks at that, but it is what it is. As I said, I see him as Mr. Action Guy. So in general terms, if it's a serious movie, I can't really take The Rock seriously, serious movies, but in terms of obviously, you know, his presence and his overall aura, The Rock has that. So Dwayne Johnson, big him up too. So yeah, those are general people. And then it comes to the next one. Who's your role model? Thierry Henry. He's an Arsenal fan. So, you know, watching him during the days, seeing how he used to put goals away, you know, the magic he used to create on that pitch was something to me as well, so inspiring. I used to see that and go, wow, that's so incredible. Do you know what I mean? And you take a little bit of that, you work hard, the ethics you put in, and you hopefully would see rewards from how hard you work. And that's kind of what I try to take from that and put into what I'm doing now in terms of this content thing. So big up Thierry Henry, man. Big up. It's my legend, man. Cool. Well, that's all for the questions, guys. What are your thoughts on them? Put your comments below on that one, or keep them to yourself. Cool. We're gonna come on to, you know, my advice. So the people's, let's say, confessions, opinions, all of that. And I'm going to obviously react to them and tell you what my thoughts are about what they've said. So let's get on to this one. When I was 16, I stole £300 from my dad and paid a homeless woman to have sex with me so I could lose my virginity. That's so wild. Completely left. I didn't expect that to go that left. But let's hear more what this story is saying, because this is incredible. Absolutely incredible. We did this at my parents' house. My dad had a secret stash of cash hidden in a security envelope inside a filing cabinet that was locked and in his office. I made a copy of that key one day at a hardware shop. He has 1,400, but I took $400 bills. I didn't want to take everything. I knew this native American woman who'd hanged out by the Shell station by the freeway, and one day she told me she worked as a prostitute and she could have sex with me if I paid. Yikes. I asked, how much do you charge? She asked how much I had. I said 300 because I wanted the other 100 for stuff. Looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Damn. So we went home and had unprotected fornications in my bed. And when my parents came home, I let her stay in my room and she slept with me that night. We even showered together. Woo! Boy, said my mom caught her the next morning and was like, who the fuck is this? Called PD, the police department, and she hightailed it and never got caught. I never saw her again, but she got me into women with flabby stomachs. What? So you're saying this woman had a flabby stomach too? Wow, okay. So, and stretch marks and native women. My mum took me to a doctor and STD tested me and I came back clean. I lied to my dad that I gave her 400 when it was 300 and used it to buy a replacement burner phone as they took my phone and my games and everything from me. Whoa, he was 16. She should be locked up for this, to be honest. Like, that's a 16-year-old. He's 16. But he could have lied to her about his age as well. Told her anything she wanted to tell her. I'm 18, I'm 20 or whatever. Whatever age is legal in the US. Because obviously I think hair is like 16, but it's still mad. To go to that lengths to be doing a 16-year-old. I don't know how old she is, but she could be, 24 or whatever. That's mad. That's first and foremost. You know what I mean? But him stealing his dad's money and then taking it to go and pay this woman to have one night with her, that's mad. But you know what? I have to kind of D him up as well in some ways because he saw an advantage, he saw a chance, and he kind of ran with it. But this is a homeless woman as well. Bro, you don't know where she's been, man. You don't know where that woman's been. And the fact you had unprotected sex with this woman as well is crazy in a nutshell too. I just can't believe it. There were so many things going on in this story. You're stealing your dad's money. You went and you banged the girl that was homeless. Do you know what I mean? She was a former prostitute as well. And you did it in your parents' house. I mean, what more is there to say? This is just crazy. It's insane. I'm trying to wrap my head about this whole thing. But it's madness. Like, the fact of the matter is, the fact that they took your phone and your games and all that with you, they should have charged you for taking the money. You stole the money for your dad in the first place. That's bad. Come on, man. You stole your dad's money. Do you know what I mean? I know you wanted to have your rocks off and had some good times and that. Like obviously the Chic song. Good times. Ding, 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 ding. But you stole your dad's money, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, he should be putting you under manual hard labor to be earning that money back for him. Because you stole his money, number one. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they can't do anything about the sex. You've already had it. Do you know what I mean? But the woman, yeah, she should be arrested. She allowed herself to be fornicating with a minor. So she should be arrested. That's wrong on all levels. He's 16 years old. You know what I mean? So first and foremost, they should find that woman and they should lock her up. Do you know what I mean? For taking advantage of a minor. Because as much people say, oh, he's 16 now, it's wrong. He's of a young age. He doesn't have his sense together as well. As soon as he approached her, she looked at him, she should have turned him away. But she decided to go through with it. Get paid because she was desperate for the money. So you're desperate to be roaming around with a young man. Not even a young man, a boy. A little boy, bruv. A little boy. And be doing things with this little boy. You went as far to go to his parents' house and do things with that little boy. Nah, man. Lock her up, bruv. When they find her, lock her up. But that whole story's crazy. But listen, I gotta, in some ways, big him up as well. Because he saw a chance and he took it. But at the same time, for her, she took advantage of a minor. So she needs to get locked up. So there's two sides of a coin here. I'm torn to big him up. But at the same time, the woman needs to get locked up. As simple as that. And that's my advice on that. This is crazy, this one. Absolutely insane. Insane. But cool. That's all for this episode of The Advice, guys. What are your thoughts on that one? You can put your comments below on that one or keep them to yourself. Well, we're going to move forward now to talk Mohammed Salah. So Mohammed Salah has officially now signed his 2-year deal with Liverpool and it's worth $380,000 a week. You know what I mean? 2 years deal. He stays on at Liverpool. There was talks of potentially him going to Saudi Arabia, but all that's been squashed and he signed the team. Do you know what I mean? So Mohammed Salah stays on for 2 more years at Liverpool. I think for Liverpool, it's a great deal for them to keep Mohammed Salah on. Record scorer for them so far. He's been scoring amazing goals in the Premier League, and he's been that guy for them. Get them out of holes, get them out of situations. Even if Mohammed Salah hasn't been playing well in certain games, he pops up with important goals or important assists. So this is key for Liverpool, to keep a player of that stature and that caliber at the club, especially when Trent's head is turning. It's good for them. Virgil van Dijk may follow suit, but we don't know yet. Until that news is confirmed, then I'll have to get back to you on that one. But for the likes of Salah staying, it's brilliant. Good news for Liverpool. It also helps with the next person that potentially is going to take over Salah's spot to learn from Mohammed Salah and for him to grow as well in that role. I have no qualms with Mohammed Salah. I think he's a great player. People say, oh, great, he's eclipsed Henry now, so he's better than Henry. Shut up. Yeah, shut up. You don't watch football properly. You're talking out your ass. That's all I've got to say there. You're talking out your bumhole. You're talking out your shitter. If you're saying that this man is better than Thierry Henry, he's nowhere near the levels of Thierry Henry. Yeah, he's a good player, but he's not great. He's great, sorry, but he's not godly. You know what I mean? Thierry Henry is of that stature. He's a legend, Thierry Henry. Yeah, Thierry Henry has scored some important and some amazing goals. Solo runs, yeah, that people can't believe. Incredible goals too. Thierry Henry is 2 times, I would say 2 times the player Mohammed Salah is. Now, that's not me dissing Mohammed Salah. I'm just saying he's not on Henry's level. But he's still a great player. That's not me dissing him. Congratulations to him for eclipsing the record of Thierry Henry's, but it does not make you a better player than Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry is the greatest Premier League player so far in the history of the Premier League. And that's that. That's all I have to say on that. People say, well, if he wins a Champions League with more trophies and all of that, who cares? Who cares? He's still not going to be better than Thierry Henry. If you say, take your Arsenal hat off, I'm taking it off. I'm being honest. You know what I mean? I'm saying the truth. Some people, are you telling me the truth? I am telling you the truth. You know what I mean? And he's not better than Thierry Henry. It's as simple as that. Cool. Well, let's move forward. You know what I mean? But listen, it's a good news for Liverpool that they have him for 2 more years. Would I think he's going to sign on? After that, I don't know. He'd been there for a decade if he stays there with his contract for the 2 years. He's going to be there for a decade, so he will have more chances to potentially go on to actually try and beat Alan Shearer's record. So he's going to be there for 2 more years. For Liverpool fans, are you excited about that? Are you not? Do you think he should have gone? You can put your comments below on that one or keep them to yourself. Cool. Well, we're going to move forward now. Just got to talk on the to be the champion. That whistle's poor, but anyways, let's move on. It's not about the whistling. Let's get on to this. Cool. All right. Well, we're gonna come on to obviously the next leg. I think I did predict this, didn't I? But we'll just do it again. I think I did predict doing the second leg, but if I didn't, we're going to do it again because obviously scorelines and changing and everything. So everything's changing. See, like the Paloma face on everything's changing. Now I've been gone for too long. All of that. So, anyways, we come to the first game of the quarterfinal leg. The second leg, sorry, which is Aston Villa versus PSG. This is on the Tuesday, 15th of April. It's obviously at 8 p.m. So the first leg was 3-1 to PSG. They're coming to Villa's ground now. I think PSG will see this game out now. Now, I did say Villa would see it through, but I think it probably will be like a very tight 1-0. 1-0 Aston Villa I'm going to go for, but them still going out to PSG. So 1-0, but I think they'll go out. So we end up 3-2 on aggregate. This game coming up now, Dortmund versus Barcelona. Again on Tuesday, 8 p.m. the tie, you could say, is kind of nearly pretty much wrapped up. Barcelona with a 4-0 advantage in the first leg. They come to Dortmund now. I do think, again, it could end up being a draw on the day. I don't think Dortmund would win. I think Barcelona would see this game out. I'm probably going to go, you know what, I'm going to go for a draw. 1-1. Barcelona going through 5-1 on aggregate. We come to the next game, which is Wednesday's game, 16th of April, 8 p.m. Real Madrid versus Arsenal. Obviously, the first leg, Arsenal shocked everyone by winning 3-0, which was a great result. Absolutely insane to see that happening. Declan Rice with 2 worldy free kicks. If you haven't seen my Ask and I Shall Deliver, go and see that. I say all of that on there. I'm just going to obviously round it up and say it was a brilliant result for Arsenal. Fantastic free kicks from Declan Rice. And, you know, this is a big opportunity for us to get to the semi-finals. Now, my gripe is we should have scored more goals. We should have scored more goals. And if we did, I would have been a lot more confident than I am now. I still think there's still a lot to do in this tie, so it's not over. What I think the score is going to be, I think Real Madrid will win on the night. But I don't think they're going to go through. I think it'll be a 2-1 Real Madrid. So Real Madrid 2, Arsenal 1. But Arsenal will be going through 4-2 on aggregate. So that's what I think the scoreline is going to be. The next game is Inter Milan against Bayern Munich. Inter Milan won the first leg 2-1. So it's still generally all to play for in this leg. But it's going to Inter Milan's pitch, which obviously Bayern Munich will have to turn this around at Inter Milan. I don't think they can do that at the San Siro. I think it's a hostile place to go. You know, the fact of the matter is that Inter did beat them 2-1 the first leg. Was crazy. I predicted that Bayern would win that game, but I got it horribly wrong, obviously. But it's still a very big opportunity for Bayern to turn it around, but I don't think they will. I think this can end up being another win for Inter Milan. I'm going to go for about... I'm going to go 3-2 on the night. I think it'll be a game where Bayern would push, but I think they'll get countered. I think Inter would win this game 3-2. So I'm going to go with Inter Milan qualifying and go to the next stage on the 5-3 aggregate. And that's all for my predictions of the Champions League. What do you guys think? You can put your comments below on that one or keep it to yourself. For that, we're going to move forward now to talk the Europa League. So obviously the Europa League did happen. I didn't watch any of the Europa League games, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Didn't really care because obviously Tottenham are involved and obviously Man United. I don't care about them teams specifically. Obviously Tottenham a lot more than, you know, United, but we're going to get on to the games obviously of the quarterfinals second leg. If you didn't know what happened in the first leg, I'm going to recap for you guys. Bodo Glimt beating Lazio 2-0. Rangers was 0-0 against Athletic Club. Lyon 2-2 against Man United. It's a howler from Onana, which obviously led him to be dropped in this game that happened today in the Premier League. But, you know, they probably may play him in the second leg. But absolute howlers from him. And Tottenham ended up drawing 1-1 with Eintracht Frankfurt. So, with that, we come to predict the second leg with Lazio against Bodo Glimt. I feel Lazio can turn this around. I think it could go to probably extra time. So I think it could be maybe a 3-1 Lazio, go into extra time. And I think Lazio could have enough to maybe get it on penalties. So I'm going to go for Lazio winning on the night. 3-3 going into, of aggregate score going into extra time. But Lazio probably winning on penalties. Okay, so the next one was Man United and Lyon. It was 2-2 on the aggregate night. Onana with 2 mistakes. Said this game should be happening on Thursday, the 17th of April, by the way, both games. coming to Man United's grounds. I mean, they're known to have a cauldron there. You could say they have European history, but Lyon have all to play for as well. They get a goal, this can get really hairy. And Lyon, to be honest, in the first leg should have scored a few more goals, but they didn't. I mean, I saw a few of the highlights, but the highlights doesn't really say all of it, does it? But I do think if Onana plays, this can go real tits up for Man United. I think if Onana plays, it can go horribly wrong. But I think they will get through on the night. I think Lyon will score, but I think United will edge through 2-1. But it all depends on if Onana does not play. If Onana plays, I think Man United could be in big trouble, which I'm hoping he does play. But, you know, it is what it is there. But, yeah, Man United just scraping through 2-1 on the night. I'm going to go for Eintracht Frankfurt against Tottenham. 1-1 first leg. Tottenham going to Eintracht Frankfurt. This game is on Thursday as well, 17th April, 8 p.m. I think that Eintracht Frankfurt will see this game out. 3-1 Eintracht Frankfurt I'm going to go for against Tottenham. Maybe 3-2 actually. Yeah, Tottenham might score second. Yeah, 3-2. But I think Eintracht Frankfurt will be going through. And that's not a bad mind team. I'm just thinking, away from home, Tottenham been shoddy in the Premier League. I think that could show as well in this game. I think this could be the one that draws the line in the sand and sees Tottenham out of this competition. Okay, we come to the last one to predict. Athletic Club against Rangers. This game is again on Thursday, 17th April at 8 p.m. as well. 0-0 first leg. I believe that there was someone sent off in the Rangers game. I didn't watch it, but obviously seen from reports here that there was a red card in that game. So it could mean maybe if it was an important play for Rangers, could be a very hairy tie for them. Going away to Athletic Club. I think Athletic Club go through on this one. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Athletic Club win. So Athletic Club going through 2-1, and that's what I see happening. So that's it for my Europa League predictions. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Put your comments below on that one, or keep them to yourself. Cool. We're going to move forward now to talk Premier League. So let's get on to the Premier League and my reactions, just recapping on what happened on the weekend. See, Saturday's games, I think there was also a game on Friday, I believe there was. So we're going to obviously come and react and respond to those games that did happen. Stupid phone's out to mad now. Brilliant. Time need you to actually start doing things. You're trying to move mad now. Do you know what I mean? Setting me up here. Do you know what I mean? Literally. But anyways, I believe it's loaded. Great. All right. So just recapping the games that did happen on match day 32 or 38. Man City 5, Crystal Palace 2, Southampton 0, Aston Villa 3, Nottingham Forest 0, Everton 1, Brighton 2, Leicester City 2, Arsenal 1, Brentford 1, Chelsea 2, Ipswich Town 2, Wolves 4, Tottenham 2, Liverpool 2, West Ham United 1, Newcastle 4, Man United 1. Bournemouth and Fulham are to play tomorrow at 8 p.m. Time currently now is 11:23 p.m. here, currently on a Sunday. So I still got time to predict that game, which I do believe this could end up in a draw, to be honest. I'm going to go for a 1-1 in the Bournemouth-Fulham game. But let's recap and my thoughts on the games that did happen. Man City 5-2 against Crystal Palace. I didn't watch the game, but, you know, it's a good result against City. Keep them in their push for the top 4 hopes of trying to make that Champions League position. Aston Villa 3-0 against Southampton. Southampton have been one of the worst teams in the Premier League history. And, you know, last week I believe they got relegated because they lost yet again. So it doesn't surprise me that Villa beat them 3-0. Everton 1-0 against Nottingham Forest probably was a bit of a shock to everyone. Going to Nottingham Forest and winning, that's not an easy feat to do, but it does leave a bit of daylight between them and Arsenal. Arsenal gain a point on them, so Arsenal still goes 6 points, I believe, ahead of them. Still, all to play for there for them, but it's a massive slip up for Nottingham Forest. Probably could cost them at the end of the season. Brighton 2, Leicester City 2. Didn't watch the game, but heard obviously there was a couple of penalties involved. I believe Pedro scored the 2 penalties. Leicester City, I believe, scored from, what's his name, Madingra, I believe his name is. Madavidi, all of that. Do you know what I mean? He scored through one of them guys, and it ended 2-2. So, Leicester City finding some way to get some points, but it's not looking good for them at all, is it? Do you know what I mean? Peaky like the blinders. But, next game, Arsenal, Brentford 1-1. Disappointing result for us, to be honest. Now, the title's fully confirmed over. If it hadn't been, I knew it was over from 6-7 games ago. So, it doesn't really shock me. It was over from the January market when we did sign a striker. So, the only thing we have left to play for now is the Champions League. I'm laughing because I don't think we're going to win it still. But you never know. You never know. So, you never know. But Thomas Partey with a brilliant goal. Good build-up play as well from David Raya, throwing the ball out, which led to the counter-attack. Declan Rice running through and then putting it through for Partey to smash home, and then just poor marking for the whistle goal. Absolutely poor. It's not clearing our lines and we got caught. So it is what it is. Draw is what it is. Next game, Chelsea 2, Ipswich 2. I didn't watch this game, so you could say good result for Chelsea in their chase for, again, trying to get into those Champions League positions. So it wasn't a win, but it was a point in general for them. So it kind of gives them something to work with, doesn't it? You could say. But Wolves beating in Tottenham 4-2. Yes, Wolves. Come on. Oh, Wolves. I know Tottenham played, I think, a depleted side. So it didn't really matter for them. In the end, it doesn't really matter. Because obviously they got the Frankfurt game coming up. But all that could mean shit if obviously they're going to get battered or beaten by Frankfurt. So I think it's still going to happen. So, listen, it's down to Ange, no poster clue. You know what I mean? Because I don't think he has a clue really what he's doing. You know what I mean? This guy right now, I don't know how he's still in a Tottenham job, to be honest. But if he isn't fired by the end of the season, or if they end up winning the Europa League, they could keep him on because if he ends up winning it. But I don't think he will. I hope he doesn't. Because if he does, we're going to hear a lot of crap from Tottenham fans, which we don't want to hear. We always want to be singing stand up. If you ain't Tottenham, I would stand up. I'm sitting down. So I can't. Otherwise, the camera's just going to go everywhere. So stand up. I'm just going to sit down. If you ain't Tottenham, sit down. If you ain't Tottenham, sit down. If you ain't Tottenham, sit down. If you ain't Tottenham. But anyways, that's all for that. No, Liverpool did win 2-1 against West Ham as well. So literally 2 games away from them confirming them as the Premier League champions. So congratulations to Liverpool. So they've done it this season. You know what I mean? Season where probably a lot of people didn't think they'd win the title. They've gone through and done it. So big up to them. Congrats to them. You know what I mean? Virgil van Dijk, I believe, was on the score sheet as well with the header. They could see the goal, I think, through the first goal, and then West Ham scored a sloppy one, which I think they left their marking open. But they found a way back, and Liverpool, with literally 2 feet, 2 wins away from the Premier League Championship. Next game was Newcastle Man United. Newcastle battering Man United 4-1 at home. Man United, you could say, well, they had obviously their eyes on the Europa League games. Probably a lot of players were rested. Doesn't matter. I went to St. James Park, got hammered. Do you know what I mean? Like Thorn. But anyways, it is what it is. And that's that. So that's all for my predictions of the Premier League. But we're going to come on to my actual predictions for the upcoming games of the Premier League. So we go to match day 29, which I think should have been played, but obviously maybe because maybe of a FA Cup tie or one of those ties that happened. So this game got brought back to now. Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. This game is going to be happening on Wednesday, 16th of April, 7:30 p.m. I think it'll probably be 8 p.m. kickoff. I'm going to go for Newcastle in this one. 3-1 Newcastle. Match day 33. We're going to come on to now Brentford against Brighton. I'm going to go for a draw, 2-2. West Ham versus Southampton. West Ham. Probably even a tight 1-0 West Ham. Maybe even 2-1. Yeah, Southampton may fight back here, but I think West Ham will have enough to beat 2-1. Everton versus Man City. This could actually be a tricky game for City, to be honest. You know what I mean? So I think another draw could be on the cards here. So I'm going to go 1-1. Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth. Again, another tricky game to call. Palace indifferent. I'm going to go with a draw as well. 1-1. Aston Villa versus Newcastle. This is a tough one to call, to be honest. Two teams that are fighting for those positions, you know. High scoring game, 2-2. Ipswich Town, Arsenal. Knowing us, we're probably just going to end up drawing the game, to be honest. If we go out to Real Madrid, I think we could see a big response from us. But I think if we go through, we're probably just going to be on the beach. I'm going to go for a draw here, 1-1. Man United versus Wolves. At home, probably they'll just scrape it. But Cunha, when he's around, dangerous. I think it could be a draw still. Cunha's around. Man United can't seem to be scoring goals. 1-1. Fulham versus Chelsea. Fulham indifferent as well. Chelsea indifferent. Chelsea need to win to keep up in that top 4 race. Chelsea are poor, man. Yeah, 1-1. Leicester City versus Liverpool. That's Liverpool winning this game, man. Doesn't matter. It's on Sunday as well. Liverpool win this game. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool. Tottenham versus Nottingham Forest. It's on Monday, 21st April, 8 p.m. kickoff. I'm going to go for... This is going to be a tough game as well. Nottingham Forest will want to respond after that loss to Everton. So I'm going to see a draw here, to be honest. I think it's going to be a draw. So 1-1. Maybe even a Nottingham Forest sneakily win, like a late on one. But I'm going to go 1-1. But that's all, guys, for my predictions, the Premier League. What are your thoughts, guys? Put your comments below on that one or keep them to yourself. With that, we've come to the end of this podcast. So I'd like to appreciate you guys' time watching this episode, feeding this episode and all of that. Listen, the light's done me dirty, but it is what it is. Said, I'm just going to have to hold on. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be holding on, holding strong. Even though I try to make it play the part, but I can't shake it. It's got to hold on until obviously next month. You know what I mean? When Anne has the funds to get a new one. So it's going to have to do the holding on stuff. But big up yourself, guys. Thank you for tuning to this episode. You know what we usually do here when we finish. But before that, you're feeling this, you know, all of that above. Show your boys some love and that. Big yourselves up. You're either all in or clear out. Should set a peace, love, uni, have fun. Yes, peace, love, uni, have fun and all that too. So yes,